If you're considering a divorce, you've probably heard of the term legal separation. In this video, I'm going to share some of the basic overviews of both a legal separation and a divorce, so that way you can make a better decision for your situation. All right, this video is being made in 2021, and there are very few reasons why a legal separation still makes sense for most people. It might in your situation, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But let's talk about one of the reasons why people used to get legal separations, and that was health insurance. Prior to the Affordable Care Act, if you had a pre-existing condition, you could not get new health insurance. So when you got divorced, you couldn't get health insurance. So sometimes people would get a legal separation, meaning they were legally separated in their financials and everything going forward. However, they were technically still married, which kept them eligible for insurance. Now, before we go any further, I do need to clarify something. There is such a thing as a physical separation that is not the same thing as a legal separation. A physical separation is when people physically move apart. Maybe one of them gets the apartment and the other stays at home, but for all intents and purposes, they're broken up. They start living separate lives, but ultimately they're still married. So from a legal standpoint, they're married and it's as though they're living at home. There is nothing different at all about their legal status. They're just physically separated. A legal separation actually cuts off the marital estate. We go into a bit more details in some of our other videos. If you want information about that, comment below and we'll get you a link for that. All right, let me take a moment to try and quickly explain what a legal separation is. When you're married, there's a marital estate, meaning everything acquired after the day you get married until the day you get divorced belongs to the marriage, with limited exceptions. So in other words, you buy a house, you get a credit card debt, that's marital. It belongs to the marriage. A legal separation actually cuts that off and essentially says from here on out, everything is separate if it's in our separate names. This can come in handy if you have a spouse that's out of control with spending, they have a drug addiction, an alcohol problem, or something else that might put one of the spouses at risk. A legal separation can allow you to stay together, stay married, but separate your financial responsibilities. The other reason why someone might consider a legal separation versus a divorce is for religious purposes. If religion is very important to you and marriage is something that your religion won't allow you to dissolve, then a legal separation might be something you consider. Now, I will say that there's some pros and cons to that. The pros are you cut things off, you essentially live separate lives, however, you are still married. This means that you cannot remarry, and any relationship that you do get in would technically be adultery. And that's something that you will have to discuss with your religion and decide whether or not you're comfortable with it. Nowadays, we find that most people decide that if they go through this process, they want to be free to move forward with their life. That's an individual decision that only you can make. All right, if you made it this far, you're probably still not certain whether a legal separation or divorce is right for your situation. This is not something you should be doing alone. You should have the trusted advice of counsel in your corner. If you need help making this decision, reach out to our office and we'll be happy to go over the pros and cons of each situation for your individual circumstances.